Guys, today we'll try to remove the right hand side EGR valve, clean it up and put it back up again. Apparently it's far worse and difficult than the left hand side one, but today we'll see whether it's actually more difficult or less difficult than the other one. I've already done the left hand side one, and yeah, it was quite a nightmare to do that, but probably the way I devised it, if I had to do the second time, it's not too bad. That shouldn't stop you from trying. Okay, so to do the right hand one, the obvious issue is the space here, and to gain some room, what I'll try to do is I'll remove the battery. I'll try to remove this power distribution box, and then I'll try to remove the coolant reservoir. But as you might have figured out, there's also a coolant hose that's coming in and connecting to the right hand side. In fact, it is being distributed from the coolant is coming and then distributed to the right hand side, and then the crossover pipe goes to the left hand side, and the coolant goes to the left hand side EGR valve as well. So to start with, I'll just go ahead and remove this battery first, and then I'll try to remove this EGR pipe as well. To remove the EGR pipe, there is a screw over here which is missing. You need to remove that one, and after that there's that V band, which is not too difficult to remove if you have a clay car type of clamp. If you don't, then just try to figure out that there is an edge over here. It should either be here or there, so just keep an eye on it, and just put something underneath it and try to pry it up, and it should pop up. I might have to take a bigger screwdriver. Alright, there it goes. So now that it's removed, you can just remove the two bolts that are at the bottom of this hose, this pipe. One is this one and that one. Remove two, make sure that you don't lose them, and remove this EGR pipe. Take this thing out, drain the coolant. I'll show you how to drain the coolant now. To drain the coolant, first of all, loosen the reservoir cap so that the air can enter. Secondly, take a small I don't know, an appropriate size tube. I've done this previously of this car, so I knows that it really works good. So just put it in the drain hole here. Just make sure it goes all the way in. Put an empty bottle underneath it, and let's go at the back and slightly rotate a couple of turns anti-clockwise the drain plug till you get a steady flow of coolant. Now I have steady flow of coolant. It'll take some time to actually fill in about 4 to 5 liters, so that's what we want. We don't want to remove all of the coolant, just enough so that we can safely remove and disconnect this coolant pipe over here. I have about 4, probably 5 liters of coolant out of it. So I'll just stop the flow and take out the bottle. That should do it for now. To remove the fuse box, first of all, there are 3 lids, 1, 2 and 3. Just push on the lid and lift them up. So we have the top cover off. Now the next thing to do is remove these 2 bolts, this harness clip. So to remove the harness clip, there is a tab at the back here, so just push on the tab and lift it up. Similarly, remove these 2 bolts and put these 2 cables at the back. Alright, to remove the rest of the fuse box, all you need to do is remove a few bolts. So the fuse box is held on to the chassis with 3 bolts. This is 1 bolt, and the other one is over here. You can see I've removed it, this one, 2. And there is a one here that is under this white clip. So to gain access to this white clip, you have to remove the bolt that is holding on to the white clip. So once you have removed it, you will be able to raise it up a bit, and then put a screwdriver, and you can see this bolt over here. You'll have a bit of play with the right clip, and now you can have plenty of access to remove the last bolt. Let me show you. It's here. Yeah, this one. So once these 3 bolts are out, you can pretty much lift it out. No issues. Alright, I moved the distribution box to the right. There was a clip with the wiring that I unplugged, and now I have plenty of area and plenty of room to work on the EGR. But I want a bit of more, so that on this car I think that the idea is that the more room you have, the easier it would be. So I'll just go ahead and dislodge the coolant reservoir as well. And I won't just totally remove it, I'll just put it over there so that I can get some area, additional area. So to remove that, I can see that there are 2 bolts that are holding this thing to the body, plus there is a clip over here. When I'm removing it, I'll just push it on the clip and just unplug it over there so that I can just pull it up, lift it up. I'll remove this thing, the return hose. I'll just keep the main connection over there and just try to see if we can just move it over there. If not, I'll try to remove that one too. Alright, so I removed the screws, the hose and the clip, so now it actually moves. I can just put it over there, but there's not too much room. So I think that it's really easy to remove the whole bottle. So if you look at it, you can probably see this metallic this thing, this wire, so you can just put something underneath it and pull it back, and this way the whole hose will unclip. Yeah, it's too easy, so I'll just go ahead and do that. So this is now the coolant reservoir removed. So what I wanted to say was this clip, it has gone back, so all you need to do was put something from underneath and pull it back. As soon as it was removed or pulled back, you can just simply wiggle the whole reservoir out. So now you can see that we have good enough room to work on it, and now we should not have too much trouble taking it out. So I'll just go ahead and take this EGR pipe first. I'll take this one out. It's already unplugged over here. I'll just remove these 2 bolts, and this thing is unplugged here too, so it should come out easily, no issues. Alright, so now the EGR pipe has been removed. So when you're removing the bolts from over there, just make sure that you catch this falling gasket. It's right underneath it. So now that it's removed, the next turn is to remove the coolant pipes. So we will need a few connections to be removed here, so that the EGR pipe not only can be disconnected but be taken out securely. So first of all, remove this point. So once you've removed, I've already loosened them and removed them, so I don't have to break the bead here, but you might have to struggle with it. So this one is probably the easiest one. So once you have removed this, go ahead for this other one. The reason we remove the top one, because it will help to break the bead. You're using some probably pliers, long neck pliers, to squeeze them from the bottom and move it around. Similarly, when you just move the pipe around, it can easily be removed. Next, you have to remove it from here, from the top, and again, that's because it's easy. And now, since you have it in a T shape, the pipe will give you the flexibility to be removed from the bottom. It will help you to break the bead. So yeah, once you've done that, you can just easily pull it out. Now the only thing that actually holds this EGR to the engine are a few screws, a few bolts. One's here, this one, that one, and the third one is this one. And apart from that, we have one over here, 4. So these are the 4 bolts, and plus we have to remove this V-clamp. So once we have these things removed, this EGR will be okay to come out. Alright, to remove the V-band, we'll just pry it with a straight head and try to flip it open. There it goes, it's open now. And now I'll just go ahead and remove the bolts. So guys, now I've removed 2 of the bolts from here, a bolt from over there, third one, and the 4th one that was over here. It does not have enough room for me to take it out. I think that probably if you are going to the same struggle, what you can do is remove this bolt, this one. It will release this bracket, and you will have more than enough play to move these 2 around, and the bolts will come off easily. For me, I think that I was able to maneuver the other two bolts, but this one I'll just take it when I'm removing the EGR. Now it's completely loose. The only thing that is holding on to is now uh, there is a return clamp, sorry, the return hose for the fuel coolant. So when I'll just try to move it out, I'll just remove this hose from here. Moving it out, I realized that I still have to unplug the connector. So to remove the connector, there is a pin underneath it. Just slightly put some screwdriver under the bottom and just push it out, and then just with the other hand just pull the plug out. So now I have a better visibility of the return hose, the coolant return hose. So I'll just use my clamp plier to remove this clip, and then this hose will come out. Alright, here's the EGR, right hand EGR in all its glory. Mine wasn't bad. I just took it out to show you guys how it's done. Plus I probably want to blow some liquid and clean it through it, just kind of preventive maintenance. Yeah, it looks like this one will last for a while. Alright, so yeah, again a better look at it. So these are the 4 bolts that needs to be removed. There's a V-band over here, the return coolant hose that goes on here, and the inlet coolant. Yeah, because there's a T-band over here, and from the crossover pipes it goes to the left hand side. So that's the inlet and that's the return. Alright, and now I'll just clean it and put it back. If there's anything special that comes during fitment, I'll bring it up. Otherwise it will exactly be the same process, just the reverse of removal. So yeah. Alright, I've put back the EGR valve back in, and first I started with this coolant hose, return coolant hose, and then I put in the 4 bolts. Now I have to go back and tighten this V clamp in. So a little trick with the V clamp was, usually when we remove it, it gets a bit damaged. So all you need to do is when you're putting it back, just squeeze it with a long this long nose or bent nose plier, and it should go in. But in this case, as you can see, that even if we try to push it, it won't go in. And the reason is that the top is a bit it needs to be bent a bit. So I'll just go ahead and twist it a bit, so that when I use the pliers to close, it should close properly. Currently it doesn't. Alright, I've put everything back together. As you can see, the bottle is there, the fuse box, each and everything is in there. Everything has been fixed properly. Just last few words on this whole process. I think that I've done both the right hand, this one, and the left hand, the other one, EGRs, and I can now say for certain that this one is a lot easier as compared to that one. So I think that probably, I think there's a misconception on the internet, if you look it up, that this one's difficult. But I don't think, if you remove these 2 things, these 3 things, you have plenty of room to do whatever you want. You won't hurt yourself, and it will be a lot easier. I would just like to go through some equipment that I used. So the one on the left is the minimum that you need to have. This is a bottle that you can capture coolant in, a speed wrench or a ratchet spanner, a tube to connect to the bottom of radiator, or unless you can probably replace it with something else if you have a different arrangement. These are the 3 sockets that I use, 8mm, 10mm and 13mm. You can use a bent nose or a straight nose plier to remove those V-bands, put the V-bands together, and you can, I didn't put up a straight head, so you can use a straight head screwdriver to actually remove the V-clamps. 3x8 and various extension, depending upon, you may have a different setup, but I use these things. So this is the equipment that is actually recommended if you want to make your life easier, especially with this click R type clamp removal. The V-bands you can remove and install them. This is a lot cheaper off eBay. A hose clamp, similarly this ratchet with a flexible head, especially when you're removing the bolts of the EGR. So you need to have a certain angle to actually access the bolts and put the sockets on them correctly. And you can probably skip this one if you don't need it. I just have it, I use it in various installations. So alright guys, thank you very much.